What if I told you that if you didn't have a car payment for 35 years, you could get $1.5 million? Would you do it? Well, if you were interested in that, stay until the end of this video and I will tell you how you can. And in this video, we are going to go over why your car payment is keeping you broke. We are going to look at the 7 myths of car payments that are keeping you broke. And before we get started, I just wanted to tell you that we will be using the average car price for our examples, which according to Kelley Blue Book, in May of 2020 is $38,900. So I'm just gonna go ahead for simple numbers and round up to $39,000. So when we're looking at our myths and we're looking at our examples, that is where I came up with the car price, which is the average car price in May for 2020. Now let's jump right in. Hey everyone, this is Lauren Mack with Hacking the Rat Race, and I would love for you to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna jump straight into myth 1. And myth 1 is that my car is a good investment. So what I wanna do is take a look at the rate of depreciation for new cars year over year, according to Kelley Blue Book. And let's determine, is it actually a good investment? So if we look here, the average car price in May of 2020 is $39,000. So the minute that you drive it off the lot, it loses 9% of its value, which is $3,510. So now the car is only valued at $35,490. After 1 year, it loses 19% of its value. That equals $7,410, which leaves a value of $31,590. After 2 years, 31% of its value. That equals $12,090, which makes the car value only $26,910. After 3 years, 42% of its value, which is $16,380, with a total value of $22,620. After 4 years, it loses 51%, more than half of its value in 4 years, and the depreciation on that is $19,890, which means the car value is $19,110. And in 5 years, it loses 60% of its value. The total depreciation is $23,400 for a total value of $15,600. And again, this is supplied by Kelley Blue Book. So the idea that your car is a good investment could not be further from the truth. Literally in just 4 years, it loses over 50% of its value, 51% to be exact. That is massive. That is actually the exact opposite of a good investment. So what I would recommend is if you're going to purchase a car that is around 5 years old. Therefore, someone else has taken that massive loss on depreciation, and find a car with the lowest amount of miles. So if you were thinking that your car is a good investment, I hope that you can see by the first myth, this first example, that it is not a good investment. The next myth is that 0% interest is the same as cash. And while that can seem true, because 0% interest means you're not paying interest, so you're paying the same amount as if you paid with cash, it is definitely not the same as cash. And the reason for this is because you can easily become upside down on a loan. So if you look at the example in the previous myth and the rapid rate at which the car depreciates, if you only put a small amount, even a decent amount down, whenever you start adding up your payments over time, and literally car payment terms have become so long that there will become a point, if not immediately, that you can become upside down. So the myth that 0% interest is same as cash, while it's partially true, it is definitely not true. And the worst kind of loan you can get is 0% down, 0% interest. And you're thinking, wow, this is amazing. I can have this nice car. I didn't have to put any money down. I am paying the same as cash. I mean, who wouldn't do this? Literally, the second you drive that car off the lot, you are upside down. And I've even seen loans where people don't have to make a payment for 6 months. So 0% down, no payment for 6 months. This is a really, really bad deal, and it is definitely not the same as cash, because now you're looking at massive depreciation before you even start paying on that car. So if your car gets totaled, if you get upside down and you want to sell it because you can't afford it anymore, or if you can't make the payments and it's going to get repossessed, when you are upside down, that means you owe more than the car is worth. And that can equal trouble. So just be very careful when you start seeing things like 0% interest is the same as cash. Yes, it means there is no interest, but it is not the same as cash, because if you had cash that you paid for that car, you would have no risk. So it's definitely important to differentiate between the two. Myth number 3 is that I can afford it. And while you might be able to afford it, you probably can't afford it, because here's the thing, so many people walk into the dealership and what do they ask you? They don't ask you how much of a car you want. They might start by asking you something like, what kind of car are you looking for? But pretty quickly they start asking you, how much can you afford? What are you looking for your monthly payment? This is very dangerous because the average car loan in America is $550. Spread over an average loan term of 69 months. And here's the thing, anything, no matter how expensive it is, spread over a long enough period can become affordable. But this can be dangerous for so many reasons. 1, you can get upside down on that loan so fast. 2, it could take you forever to pay it off. And 3, you may not even be getting a great deal, because oftentimes when you go to the dealership and you're talking to them about the car you want, they're gonna talk you into a nicer, better, bigger car. At the end of the day, you're gonna have an affordable car payment, but can you really afford that car? So just be really careful when you think, I can afford it, because if you can afford it, then why not just pay cash for it? If you can pay cash for it, then you can truly afford it. Again, when you stretch these expensive loans over a long period of time, you are also adding so much risk, because you don't know what's going to happen. What if you lose your job? What if you don't have this? What if you don't have that? And then when you consider the interest rate, you are going to be paying so much more money. Just be very careful when you fall into the myth of I can afford it, and make sure you truly can afford it. Myth number 4, I hear this so many times. People say, Lauren, I buy new because I can't afford, nor do I want a repair bill. And I want to dive into this because this myth gets so overblown, and when we look at the numbers, you are going to be shocked. A new poll by Harris Poll, completed on behalf of Ally Bank, shows that Americans spend on average $397 on repairs and maintenance per year. So let's dive into this and look at the numbers. So if $397 is the average annual car repair and maintenance per year, let's just say that you have extra car repairs. You think, no way, $397 is not gonna work. Okay, let's double that. $794 every year is what you are expecting for your car repair bill. So after 6 years of car repairs doubled, that's $4,764. And 6 years of a car repair average is only $2,382. Okay, let's go back up and look at 1 year of depreciation, which on an average car in 2020 was $39,000. So the 1 year of depreciation was $7,410. So if you take that $7,410, this is literally just the amount that you lose in depreciation in the first year, and you subtract the car repairs for 6 years doubled, which was $4,764, you literally have a savings of $2,646. This is in the first year of depreciation, and this is after 6 years of car repairs. You've still saved $2,646. Now, if you take that same depreciation, $7,410, and you subtract it from the average car repairs for 6 years, you have a savings of $5,028. This myth makes no sense. If you had the average car repair cost, you have lost 68% more to avoid repair bills. That is only the loss in the first year. So if you take that depreciation down to 6 years, you would literally have saved thousands of dollars. So buying new to avoid the repair cost is a massive myth, because oftentimes people don't realize, or they don't know, or they don't calculate how fast a car depreciates. And that's an actual loss as well, even though it's more hidden. People think, I am just gonna get this car payment and then I don't have to worry about it. But you are having to worry about it, because that depreciation is money that you're losing every year. Having that repair bill and getting a car with low miles that is 5 years old will save you thousands upon thousands of dollars. So whenever you think, I don't want a repair bill, just remember this myth, and it is completely busted, because having a brand new car is definitely gonna cost you way more over the long run than having a good 5-year-old with low miles used car that you sometimes have to go and get repaired. Myth number 5 is that my car payment helps boost my credit score. And this myth, again, like some of the others, is partially true, but there are ways to hack it that this shouldn't be an excuse to have in a car payment. Here's why. 10% of your credit score is new credit, 10% is mix of credit, and 35% is making your payments on time. So if you get a car loan, that'll give you new credit, that also gives you mix of credit, and obviously if you're paying your car loan on time, which you should be, then yes, you could make the case it's boosting your credit score. However, you are most likely paying interest, and if you're not paying interest, you still have the risk of being upside down. So how can you help your credit score and also not have a car payment? Well, the best way to do this is to pay cash for the car, but only finance a couple of months worth, or maybe even finance, say, $1,000, but you already have that cash, so you're gonna pay it off in 2 months. This will actually boost your credit score even more, because number 1, you have mix of credit. Number 2, you have 2 payments that you made on time. Number 3, you have new credit. And number 4, you have paid off a loan satisfactory. So that is a massive boost to your credit score, maybe even a larger boost than just carrying these car payments on and on and on, especially if you're paying interest, because that is money you are just losing. So you can still boost your credit score with a car purchase without getting a long loan full of car payments. So this is a myth that so many times I hear people use, but again, it's an excuse. You should get a car that you can afford, that you can pay for, and if you want to boost your credit, that is a great idea, but you can do it without having a long-standing car payment. And here's a bonus tip on this. Oftentimes when you are at a car dealership, even a used car dealership, and you are negotiating the terms of a car, if you get a loan, say through them, oftentimes they will give you better terms, because they are expecting to get interest over a long period of time, and they know that they are going to be making more money on that car. So what you can do is tell them, yes, I want a loan, negotiate your car deal with that loan so that you get a better deal, and then pay it off within 2 months, because then you got the best deal. I'll tell you what, if you really want to get back at those people at the car dealership, this is the way to do it. because they give you the absolute most favorable terms, and they'll do this on a long car payment as well because they're expecting to get that interest month over month over month for a very long time. So if you get that great deal and you pay it off in 2 months, you probably got an even better deal on the car. You have boosted your credit and you have paid it off. So this is the best way to avoid this myth, but still get the benefit of boosting your credit. Myth number 6 is I will always have a car payment. And this is a myth that is spread so widely by car dealerships and car dealers. All of my friends that are car dealers have told me this my whole life. Lauren, why are you driving that car? You are going to have a car payment for your entire life. Why not get the car that you love? No, you don't need to have a car payment your entire life. And again, that is 100% a myth. And it is created by car dealerships to keep you, buying cars every few years. Because if you think I'm always going to have a car payment, then why not every 2 or 3, some people every year, get the most brand new top of the line car they have. And it is so affordable. And you can just come back because you are always going to have a car payment. But that is not true. In fact, that is horrible advice. You shouldn't have a car payment. You don't want to pay interest. You don't want to have the risk. You should be investing that money. So this is a massive myth, completely busted and completely conjured up by car dealers. And myth number 7 is people are going to think I am poor. And you're probably thinking, not me. I don't care what people think. That is not why I buy my car. But even if it's subconsciously, all your friends are getting new cars, your neighbors, there's a term, it's called keeping up with the Joneses, and it works. When you see your friend's new cool, awesome hot rod, or your neighbor pulls up in their brand new car, you're like, man, that is awesome, I need one of those. But do you, and can you afford it? The other thing I see here is oftentimes people have deep-rooted insecurities. They don't think they're enough. Maybe they grew up and they didn't have money, or maybe they just always had this dream and they want everyone to believe they made it. And again, most people will never admit this out loud. They may not even admit it to themselves. They tell themselves things like, I deserve this car. I don't care what people think. I just like nice things. I just like nice cars. And they are car poor. So again, if you fall into this trap, even if you think you don't fall into this trap, I challenge you to ask yourself, why do I need to have the car that I have? Why do I need to have a car payment? And if the answer you first tell yourself is something like, well, I love cars, I need a nice car, I'm always in my car, whatever that is, dig deeper. Because why does it have to be that car? Why does it have to be a super nice car? Why can't it just be a good, affordable car? It doesn't mean you have to be riding around in a dump in a car that's always breaking down, that's 15 years old. Of course, it doesn't have to be that. But it also doesn't have to be the newest Audi or BMW or Mercedes or the most expensive truck that they make, or even not even the most expensive truck. Maybe it's still outside of your budget. And again, if you can afford it, pay cash for it. Pay cash. And if you can't afford it and you're thinking what people might think of me, and maybe you are honest, and maybe you do have that feeling of, I don't want everyone to think I'm poor, then dig into that. Fix that root problem, because that root problem, once fixed, will break you free from actually being poor. Because what's actually happening is, by proving that you're not poor or proving that you can keep up with the Joneses, is what's actually keeping you poor. It's what's actually keeping you from being truly wealthy. So regardless of who you are, if you're watching this video, and especially if you made it this far, definitely look into this and work on this, because this is the true reason so many people are broke from their car payment. Work on figuring out the root problem so that you're okay not keeping up with the Joneses and not keeping up with your neighbors. And you're okay actually becoming truly wealthy. So I told you in the very beginning of this video, if you didn't have a car payment for 35 years, you would get $1.5 million. Would you do that? And if the answer was yes, and you're wondering how, let's dive into that. So like I said earlier, per LendingTree, the average monthly car payment in the US is $550. If you took that $450 per month for 35 years and you invested it in something that gave you a 10% return on your investment, which historically speaking, this can be done with the stock market, you would have actually invested over those 35 years only $189,000. Yet, you would have made $1,541,652. You would have made over $1.5 million, and this is still keeping out $100 of that average $550 per month. Now you might be thinking, Lauren, my car payment is not $550. It doesn't matter. If you eliminate your car payment and you start investing that money over the long term, you have the potential for massive returns. And as you can see, at the rate in which cars depreciate, investing that money into a car is a horrible, horrible investment. And it is only going to make you lose money over time. And if your car payment is more than $550 and you apply this method, then clearly you potentially could make more than $1.5 million. And this is how you build true wealth. So in this video, I have crushed the 7 myths of why your car payment is keeping you broke. So if you don't want your car payment to keep you broke, then buy a car with cash that is about 5 years old. It has already lost 60% of its depreciation. Let someone else lose that depreciation. Get a car that has low miles. And again, you don't need a car payment for the rest of your life. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses. If you apply this and take that money that you were spending on your car payment and roll it into investing, instead of being broke, you can begin to become truly wealthy. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It does so much for this channel and it literally costs nothing. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.